From Nufar's perspective. 2710. Terran calendar. 3 years before.
All 6 of my paws desperately scramble against the slick pavement of the Prosperity back alley as I flee for my life. Pursuing me is a monster. His species aren't meant to be sprinters. They said if it came to a chase, I just needed to quickly get out of his line of sight and keep going, and he'd not be able to keep up. I skid around a corner and steal a glance behind me, seeing 2 furious eyes moving towards me so fast that they seemed to leave streaks of emerald green behind them as after images. Their fury is so close on my tail that he's almost certain to catch me now. It would be laughable how much my employers had underestimated him if it weren't so terrifying. You've got a Terran with you. There should be no issue. Yet that idiot mercenary they hired almost had me going with his smug, arrogant proclamation that big equals slow, slow equals dead, as he idly showed off his little knife tricks. My confidence lasted up until the very moment I saw the one we were supposed to rob. 20 centimeters taller than the skinny mercenary, and looking like he could easily weigh twice as much, the man was a hunt-damn beast compared to the one who was meant to protect me from him. I think Flynn reassessed his cocksure attitude as well, because rather than waiting for me to have an opening like we agreed in the fucking plan, he just drew a knife and tried to stab the monster to death. An extremely poorly calculated risk. There was no competition. The Juggernaut dealt with Flynn as easily as Flynn could have dealt with me. It took him a matter of seconds to dispatch my accomplice, but that was a matter of seconds where he was distracted enough that I was able to snag what we had been after. Not that it makes any difference now. Just as I hear thundering footfalls coming up on my left, sinewy fingers impact the space between the bottom of my neck and the top of my top shoulder blades. I'm slammed into the ground, but not killed. I can feel the power contained in the iron grip around my neck. I know that decapitating me would be as simple as deciding to close his fingers, but as I wait for death to come, it doesn't. Instead, the hand slides up my shoulders, gathering the loose skin and lifting me up like a kit in her parent's mouth. The first thing I'm able to see is the monster's flat-booted feet, followed by a pair of long, thick legs, then a chest and left arm covered in a loose fitting, buttoned shirt, patterned with vertical and horizontal lines. The red fabric of his top disguises the bloodstain from the wound he got from Flynn, just below his shoulder. However, the nauseatingly metallic smell of it absolutely fills my nostrils. The final thing to be revealed, as my feet hang more than a meter from the ground, is a face. The scar's skin a pale beige, the white calcite teeth bared in a furious grimace, copper-colored eyebrows tilted downwards, in the middle over a nose, wrinkled with anger, and emerald eyes burning with rage. His shoulders rise and fall in time with panted breaths he sucks in and out through his gritted teeth, putting me less in mind of a person or even an animal catching their breath after exertion, and more in mind of some hulking piece of machinery from the steam age venting his pressure. The Terran extends his pallid-skinned, long-fingered, furless, pentadactyl left hand to me, stained with the ferrous blood that runs down his sleeve, and growls, "Sample." "No!" I breathe, terrified. "Girl, I ain't fucking playing with you," he snarls, curling all but his index finger and jabbing it towards my snout. "You're gonna give back what you fucking stole." "You can take it from my corpse," I defy, clutching my exhausted, trembling paw hands to the front of my jumpsuit. Effortlessly, his free hand comes forward, batting my four aside, before pinching the top of the stasis vial and pulling it free, with there being absolutely nothing I can do to stop him. He holds up the tube, in which is visible a small plant with a rosette of frilly black leaves, and through which can be seen a frozen impression of the room it was in when it was stasisized, demanding, "You're really willing to die for this? For corporate espionage? Why the fuck's this matter to you like that?" "I don't care about the plant at all," I answer defeated. His face twists in a sneer as he asks, "Then why tell me I had to pry it from your cold, dead hands?" "Because if I come back empty-handed, they're going to torture my husband and son and made me watch. If I don't come back at all, maybe they'll let them go, I pant in answer. His face falls blank, but I can tell that is not because he's no longer angry. Instead, his redoubled rage has gone from white-hot to ice-cold as he leans in and demands, "Who's they?" 2715, Terran calendar. 2 years after. "One?" demands the skeptical latrine Navarre man, one of 6 listening to my story for the first time, along with the 2 friends who've heard it before, holding up a webbed forehand and extending a single finger. "You're trying to tell us that one Terran dismantled the entire Glups's sister syndicate overnight? Simply because you told him a sob story about them holding your family hostage?" "I did say you wouldn't believe me," I smirk, lifting my drink to take a sip. "You're damn right I don't believe you," he sneers. "It might have been a little more believable if you'd made it a team of a dozen or so Terrans that were guarding this thing, but one? There's no way it took a single individual a single night to root out and entirely destroy an enterprise that Prosperity's government had been hunting for nearly 2 decades, even if that individual was a Terran." I place my drink down on the table and turn the palms of all 4 forehands to the ceiling, as I say, "Believe me or don't, that's exactly how it happened."
Don't know about exactly,"
comes a familiar voice from behind my head in the next booth over. I freeze and straighten my back. The friends and audience in my booth are looking past me, curiously, but from their faces it doesn't look like they can see anything. I stand and slide out through the gap between the table and Nafnal's footpaws. I turn right and am immediately able to see that the booth next to us is occupied by a mixture of Terrans and some much smaller humanoids with green skin. I keep going, rounding the partition to reveal, "By the hunt, Victor!" I exclaim, seeing the man sat with his back almost exactly to where I was sitting, next to another tall, slim humanoid with blue skin and 4 arms. His copper hair is much longer, his face isn't as scarred and isn't wearing the disgusted sneer that characterized so much at the time he and I spent together, but there's no mistaking it. The man turns his head, smiling, before standing up to nearly twice my height and extending a palm to ruffle the fur between my ears, saying, "How's it going, Foxy? You look a lot better than you did last time I saw you, at least." Gesturing with his other hand up and down my less skinny and less visibly scarred body. "Never mind that, Victor. What are you doing here? You didn't tell me you were coming back to Prosperity." He smirks.
"Yeah, sorry, Foxy. It's a loose-lips sink ships kind of deal. Just thought I'd show my friends here the bar you brought me to celebrate after everything was done that time. Didn't think I'd actually run into you here."
I stare up at the man, agog, for a few moments, before reaching up with both my left hands and closing them around his wrist. He allows me to drag him back to the head of my table. "Nafnal, Gornaf! This is him! This is the one I've been telling you about for the last 5 years!" I say to my 2 Grafna friends, before turning to the rest of the table to declare, "He's the man who took down the Gallispris. He's Victor Cuddles Taylor." With mirthful bemusement, the Terran raises his left palm to the table to smile. "You alright, guys?" Before his eyes scan the faces, and his expression grows concerned. He turns to me and asks, "Your hubby alright, Foxy?" I bare my teeth, I hope friendly, and answer, "Fnarnol's fine, Victor. For fun, too. This is just a girls' night." Gesturing at my 2 friends. Or, it was. Gesturing over to the 4 men and 2 women of 4 different species who joined us to hear my story. "What did you mean by it not being exactly right?" queries Lunvo, the same skeptical Navarre who voiced disbelief before, still looking skeptical. Not that I can blame him, but at least impressed by the fact that the con has an imposing-looking Terran stooge now.
"Well?"
Victor frowns down at me mirthfully.
"The way she described me dodging that knife attack, she made me sound almost psychic. In reality, she and this guy weren't as smooth as she seems to think. The fact that I even got nicked by someone I was paying as much attention to as that is a bad reflection on my reaction time. Also, she kinda made it sound like I went into their headquarters with a gun in one hand and a lit plasma sword in the other. As I recall, I gave them all a chance to surrender and come quietly, and it were only after they, shall we say, indicated a lack of interest in that option that my weapons first cleared leather. Oh, and what was with all that comparing the way I pant to venting steam engines, Foxy?
Bet, starts Mwan, a nervous, toffering wind woman beside her husband.
Kumph.
You don't deny it was you, and you alone who brought down the Gillespie's? Without help? The pale skin of the Terran's flat face performs a complicated scrunch as he considers the question before answering.
Don't know about without help. I had Foxy here for showing me the way, after I'd done a lot of convincing. And once I'd taken care of them, local law enforcers came to take the survivors away. And I probably didn't actually manage to kill or capture every last one of them. Just gutted the power structure enough that the rats fled the sinking ship.
Why are you calling her Foxy? Asks Slunvo, four eyes narrowed in suspicion. Fnurfar is the name she gave us. The large man shrugs his shoulders.
I didn't get her name until we came here to celebrate. She didn't trust me to give it. Had to call her something, so I called her Foxy.
Responds Lumvo. I'm not buying it.
Victor raises an eyebrow. You ain't buying me giving her a nickname?
I don't believe any of it. The whole story reeks of the fanciful. I bare my teeth and slam my paws on the table before snarling. I don't care if you question my honesty, Lunvo, but this man saved my husband's life, my son's life, the lives of dozens of others, freed me from effective slavery and freed this planet from its largest criminal syndicate. I will not have you questioning his integrity. Lumvo cowers away from me, despite the table separating us. I feel a large, strong hand on my shoulder. I turn to see a smiling face.
Easy there, Foxy. Appreciate the defense, but there ain't no need to get heated over it. Especially not when there's a really easy way to sort this out.
He looks up at Lumvo and asks,
Lumvo, was it? Could I ask you to look up the front page of the Prosperity Chronicle from the 3rd of September, 2710? I think you'll see a picture of me shaking hands with your governor at the time.